There are farewells that are never spoken, because we don't realize that the remaining time has already begun to count down. If you have elderly relatives, you might have thought that death would come suddenly, without warning. But the truth is, the body often sends silent signals, sometimes even years before the final journey begins. In this video, we will explore 5 important signs to help you recognize, mentally prepare, and especially cherish the last moments of love with your beloved ones. First, significant weight loss, a quiet but serious signal. One of the earliest and clearest signs that an elderly person may be entering the final stage of life is unintentional weight loss. This is not just a few kilograms lost, but a comprehensive weakening of the body. From reduced nutrient absorption, muscle loss, to prolonged loss of appetite. Many families may think this is a normal sign of aging, but in reality, rapid weight loss without clear cause is often associated with serious illnesses, such as cancer, heart failure, or even silent depression. This is not just an external change. It reflects that internal organs are slowing down, preparing for the final stage. Elderly people often lose their appetite, change their tastes, or lose interest in their favorite foods. This is not just psychological, but also due to the body gradually turning off survival signals, no longer sending messages to the brain to stimulate eating. If you notice that your loved one has begun to lose weight significantly, despite eating normally, or has lost interest in food, see this as a sign that needs attention. Recognizing it early gives you the opportunity to take better care and prepare emotionally for the most important things: love, presence, and the words you want to say. Second, extreme fatigue, when the body begins to say enough. Another sign that often appears in the last year of life for the elderly is prolonged exhaustion and weakness that cannot be restored by normal rest. This is not the feeling of being sleepy after a long day at work. It is deep, internal fatigue that makes even simple activities like getting up, walking a few steps, or even having a light conversation feel like a challenge. Onlookers might mistake this as laziness or lack of exercise, but in fact, the body is shifting into a mode of energy conservation. Internal organs are slowing down, circulation and respiration are weakening, causing insufficient oxygen and nutrients to reach the muscles and brain. Therefore, the person often feels sleepy, sleeps more during the day, but after waking up, still feels tired, lethargic, and uninterested in doing anything. Not only does this affect the body, but prolonged fatigue also impacts the mind. Many people begin withdrawing from social activities, speaking less, and losing interest in activities they once enjoyed. They may become silent, indifferent, and even feel meaningless, leading to a mild form of depression that few notice. The most important thing at this point is not to force them to try harder, but to listen and accompany them within their physical limits. Instead of pushing for more activity, create conditions for them to rest comfortably, keep the environment peaceful, and spend quality time together. Sometimes a gentle presence and quiet companionship is the greatest spiritual gift for someone nearing the final stage of life. Third, when the mind begins to drift away, confusion and withdrawal. One of the most obvious yet often overlooked signs in the final stage of life is confusion, cognitive decline, and the tendency to withdraw from the world. This doesn't just happen to the elderly diagnosed with dementia, but can also occur in anyone nearing the final months of life, even if they were perfectly lucid before. You may notice that your loved one starts forgetting simple things like names of familiar people, where things are, or the date. They may repeat the same sentence, ask the same question repeatedly, or confuse time and place. For example, thinking they are in a different location, or asking, "Is it morning or evening now?" At times, they may not recognize loved ones, or call the wrong name, something that breaks the heart of the family. But in fact, it is a sign of the brain slowly retreating. Along with the decline in cognition, many people withdraw from relationships. They no longer care to talk, show interest in news, or participate in activities they once loved. Instead of greeting or smiling, they remain silent, sitting still, or staring off into the distance. At times, they may seem indifferent and unresponsive to the presence of others. But at other times, they may become irritable or frustrated because they cannot understand or express what they want to say. In some, this phenomenon happens very gently. They become strangely serene, as if they have accepted everything, no longer entangled in disputes, worries, or calculations. Many experts believe this is when the mind begins to let go of this life, preparing for another journey. What's important is that family members should not blame or demand that the person stay awake, remember names, or talk as they once did. Instead, be patient, keep your voice gentle, your gaze warm, and accept this change as a natural part of the process of leaving. Sometimes a gentle handhold, a familiar whisper, or an old song can bring a precious connection, even if just for a moment. And in those moments, we realize the most valuable thing is not perfect memory, but the love that still exists even without words. Fourth, when the body has no more defenses, infections and slow healing. In the final stage of life, the immune system gradually weakens, causing the body to no longer be able to fight off bacteria or viruses that once only caused mild illness. The elderly or those with chronic conditions may begin to experience repeated infections, such as pneumonia, urinary tract infections, or pressure ulcers from prolonged bed rest. What's important is that these infections may not show up as clearly as a high fever or pain, but instead manifest through signs such as sudden confusion, unusual fatigue, or behavioral changes. Many families may think that their loved one is forgetting quickly, but in fact, it could be the body's first response to infection, a signal that needs attention. In addition, you may notice that even minor injuries like scrapes, ulcers, or small cuts take a long time to heal and may become infected. This is due to poor blood circulation and the body's healing cells no longer functioning as effectively as before. Even bruises can take weeks to heal instead of a few days. These signs show that the body no longer has the energy to recover as before and is shifting into a mode of preservation, gradually letting go of life. Understanding this helps us remain calm and take gentle care during this fragile time with our loved ones. Fifth, when the breath becomes fragile, changes in breathing and circulation. One of the most obvious signs that life is slowly fading is changes in breathing patterns. In the final stages of life, many people begin to breathe more slowly, shallowly, and have short pauses in breathing, followed by deep inhales. This is called Cheyne-Stokes breathing, which is very common in the final days or hours. At the same time, blood circulation significantly decreases. You may easily notice that the patient's hands and feet are colder, their skin turns pale, bluish, or has purple spots, signs that blood is no longer circulating efficiently to the extremities. These changes are not painful, but serve as evidence that the heart is gradually reducing its activity, giving way to the final rest. The patient may also experience shortness of breath, even when they slightly move or speak a few words, and sometimes feel suffocated or struggle to breathe when lying flat, needing to sit up to breathe easier. This is when the lungs can no longer expand and exchange gases as before. When you observe these changes, the most important thing is to keep the environment calm, airy, and as comfortable as possible. A gentle hand, a whispered word in the ear, can provide more comfort than any medical equipment. Because in these final breaths, what your loved one needs most is not medical intervention, but your loving presence. Life will come to an end for everyone. But what's precious is not how long we live, but how we live, how much we've loved. These signs of life fading away are not meant to make us afraid, but to help us prepare, physically, mentally, and emotionally. If you're accompanying someone in their final stages of life, remember, your warm presence is the greatest gift. No need for grand words, just a hand to hold, a loving gaze, or a whisper of "I'm here with you." These are enough to soothe fear and bring peace. Thank you for watching this video. If you find this content meaningful, please like, share, and subscribe to the channel to spread empathy and understanding to more people. And leave a comment if you have ever experienced sacred moments with your loved ones, because sharing is also a way to heal.